Hey everyone, it's Marissa again from Aspiria Fitness Center. We're here doing another mobility and more. Today we're focusing on hips and knees. So all you're going to need is your water, a mat, and a foam roller. We're starting out with quite a bit of foam rolling, just hitting some of those places that can be things that can irritate, like if you have knee pain or hip pain. Some of those areas we're going to work on relaxing to see if we can help kind of mitigate some of that pain that you have. So these are big focus areas for that. Then we're going to focus on stretching kind of those same areas. So we're first going to grab that foam roller. We're going to start with our quads here. So you can also use a massage ball, tennis ball if you have one. Or you can have the area have like a broomstick or something round like a rolling pin, and you can sit and roll it on the areas and find that spot and press it into if you don't have a foam roller. So there's other options out there. So for our quads here, they're right above our knees and they come up our thighs here. We're just going to lay down on it, starting it close to those knees, and we're just holding at the spots that we feel are tight or tender. So my spots that are tight might be a little bit different from your spots that are tight. So just find that spot, and then whenever you find your spot, you're gonna hold it for 45 seconds, okay? So I'm just gonna go through my spots. If you need more time, you can always pause the video and do what you need to do before we move on to the next spot, okay? So my first one is starting here right above my knees. So I'm going to go ahead and just hold that there. We are breathing in through our nose, out through our mouths. Focusing on that muscle, relaxing. And as you're holding, you may notice that it does work that core a little bit. You're focusing on just pulling that belly button up tight and trying to get that breathing as much as you can in through your nose, out through your mouth. Roll mine up a little bit. Finding a new spot here. And there's mine. So I'm going to hold for another 45 seconds, about 8 deep breaths. You can always take a break in between each spot if you need to, because like I said, I know this gives a little bit of core work, especially the further away from those hips that we are. Might tire out those arms a little bit, so always feel free to take a little break in between each spot. So I'm going to move it a little bit higher. We're getting into more of our hip flexors, which is going to be that next area that I was going to focus on. So I'm going to finish out right here, and then we're going to do the hip flexors. We'll do one at a time. So there's a special way to do that. So find one more spot a little bit higher, and we're holding. go ahead and show you how to do the hip flexors. So you're just moving that foam roller to the side a little bit. You're going to have one leg, so I'm going to start with my right leg, and we're going right kind of where that hip bone, the top of that hip bone sticks out, and just a little bit under that. So that's kind of where we're going to focus on for those hip flexors. So we're just doing one at a time. So you're laying one leg out to the side, and then the leg that you are trying to relax is going to sit right on the edge of that foam roller. Let me turn it a little bit this way so you might be able to see. So this area is going right there on that foam roller. This leg is sticking out. So where I am feeling it, it's about an inch or two below where my hip bone kind of sticks out. And then we're going to switch. So we're just going to the other side of the foam roller, finding that spot. Other leg comes out. I do find that I have to angle up just slightly to hit that spot. So you might try that as well. Deep breaths. Relax up from that. We are next going into our hamstrings. So foam roller, same thing, but this time we are flipping it over. So going on the back of those thighs, your legs will stay straight, and you're just lifting yourself up on your hands, rolling it until you feel the spot in those hamstrings. Mine's about right here, there in the middle. And it may not be an intense tenderness or an intense tightness, but that's okay. You still want to hit those spots. And if you're not feeling it like at all, you may try doing that one leg at a time. So for this, you would just cross that leg over the other one, just add a little bit more pressure into that muscle. And maybe you'll feel it a little bit more that way. Next step, we're going to move that foam roller down. We're going to focus on our calves now. So we're moving it to right where the back of those calves kind of hit that, what I call a knee pit. So right under that knee pit is where you're going to place that foam roller. And again, for these calves, I do definitely want you, unless you are feeling quite enough with both, I want you to stack one over the other. So I'm going to do one side at a time, and I encourage you to do the same. Switch. Relax those arms if you need to before you switch. Couple more deep breaths. Okay, good. Now we're going to go just a little bit lower there on our calves. So you're going to go more to the middle of those calves, so where kind of the belly of it is, that widest part around. And we're going to do the same thing. You might notice that the outside part of your calf is a little bit tighter. That's pretty common. And if you ever notice that your feet tend to naturally turn outwards, that can be due to these outer part of the calves as well. So if you notice that about yourself, that might be something that you want to focus on in the future, kind of stretching and relaxing out that specific muscle. Switch, cross over, and back. If you need to relax those arms, you can always take a break for a second and then come back up to it. But it's best if you can get a full hold all at once. Relax that down. We are moving this a little bit lower to what's called our soleus muscle. So our soleus muscle is here at the bottom of our calves. It actually also connects down into our foot, into our arch. So if you have like foot pain or have like arch problems, you may focus on relaxing this area as well as some foot massaging and foot rolling as well will help with that too. But soleus muscle, so we're rolling, we're finding that tight spot, and we are stacking our feet. Relax those arms, and we are switching, stacking, and back up. You might also notice that one side is tighter than the other, so I definitely noticed that this leg definitely feels tighter than my other one did. My left leg is tighter. Feel free to close your eyes. Good, and relax that down. All right, our next spot that we are going to hit is going to be our IT band. So I'm sure you've heard of the IT band before. Runs along the sides of our legs here, can also be a cause for over tightness, overactiveness, and in that can come like the hip and the knee pain. So just from it pulling a little bit too much. So we're going to put that foam roller kind of, it's going to be on the side of your thigh, but it's going to hit maybe like 5 or 6 inches below where that hip bone is sticking out at your waist. So not too low, not too high, just right in that sweet spot. Breathing through. One more deep breath. Good. We're going to come up and we are going to switch. Same thing, other side. About 5 or 6 inches below where that hip bone sits on the sides of our thighs. relax that down. We just got 2 more spots that we are going to hit. We'll do some stretching. So next you're going to turn your foam roller vertically. And we are going to hit these inner thighs, also called our adductors, if you've ever heard of that, ADD, adductors. So one leg is back, kind of like we did for the hip flexors, but this time the leg that is coming out, kind of making that H with your legs, that's going to be the one that is sitting here on the foam roller. So these adductors. So your knees are bent at about 90 degrees, and we're feeling that tight spot, and we are holding. More deep breaths. Good. I'm going to go ahead and move mine up a little bit higher on that inner thigh because I know that I've definitely got some tightness up there. So you can feel free to do the same or go ahead and move to your other leg. Good. Now I'm going to switch. My right leg is down and my left leg is coming up at that 90 degrees. More deep breaths. Good. We're moving it up. Moving it up the thigh. This leg's feeling a lot tighter for me. But it's okay, we're breathing through it. relax off that foam roller. All right, let's start to stretch it out. So the first one that we are going to start with, we are lying down on our side. We are doing a lying quad stretch. So one arm is out, we are laying on our side, one arm is grabbing at that ankle and pulling our heel towards our booty. So if you're not quite able to grab that ankle yet, go ahead and grab a stretching band or grab like a light sheet or something, and you can wrap it around your ankle and then pull it up, trying to hold that band or that sheet as closely to your ankle as you can and pulling it up, because we want to get that stretch here in the front of those thighs. So we're still practicing our breathing in through our nose, out through our mouth. One more deep breath. Good. Gently relax that down. And we're going to switch. So other side, flipping it over. Same thing. Try to keep that knee from going in. We want it to just be straight out from that hip. A couple more deep breaths. Good. Slowly relax that down. Next one is going to be targeting that hip and that glute. So you're going to put one ankle on your knee. If you prefer, you can do this seated up on a chair, or you can do it seated on the floor. But with your hands, you're going to wrap it around the back of that leg and you're going to pull in. This one always feels really good to me. More deep breaths. Good. Slowly relax that down and leave our switching. slowly relax that down. All right, our next one that we're gonna get into, you can choose, you can either do a butterfly stretch here with your feet together, your knees apart. You're either holding here at your feet, but that torso is still up nice and tall. You're keeping those shoulders back and that chin tucked, or you put those hands right behind you, torso's tall, shoulders tucked, and you are just bringing yourself closer to those feet. Your other option, which I'd like you to try, if you feel like you can, is going to be a sumo sit. Now you can do it either without support if you feel comfortable with it, or if you have something like a chair or something supportive like a pole or a wall that you can hold on to. Your legs are going to be a little wider than hip width apart, toes pretty much straight with your knees, but you want just a slight little angle so those knees stay over your toes. You're coming down into a squat. Elbows are together and your knees are pushing those elbows are pushing your knees apart. Your heels stay on the floor. Try to keep that torso up tall and those shoulders back. Couple more deep breaths. Good. Our last one is called a scorpion. So we're going to lie on our belly. Your arms are going to be making a T out. With one leg is down, one leg you are lifting up at your glute and you are bringing it up and over, trying not to bring that other hip up off the floor. You don't necessarily need to touch the floor on the other side with your foot. You just need to bring it up and back. We're working on stretching out this part right here. Kind of those hip flexors. If you need to, you can make it more of an active stretch, so hold it for a couple seconds, relax, and then go back at it. As you stretch a little bit more, you may be able to feel the ability to go back a little bit more without lifting up that hip too much, so feel free. Relax, other side, nice and controlled back, lift that glute up off the floor, and then go up and down. Good, nice and controlled, relax that back down. All right, great job on that stretching and that foam rolling. Hope those muscles feel nice and relaxed. Let's go ahead and begin with our mobility, so some stability work, and then also kind of strengthening up some of the areas that we are mobilizing and relaxing out. So getting a full body kind of foundational balance here with our relaxing and our strengthening of our muscles. So our first few movements that we are going to be doing, we're going to do each one, again, 45 seconds. That's kind of our good number here. And then we're going to do it for 2 sets before we move on to the next exercises. So the first one, we are doing 90-90s with a lift. So we're going to sit on the floor. Your front leg is at that 90 degrees. Your back leg is at that 90 degrees, the best that you can. We are going to come up and lift, nice and controlled, back down and up. So we'll do that one side first. We'll switch and do the other side. So mobilizing out those hips, also those knees as well. If that lift is a little bit too much for you, you can keep going if you're doing this lift. But if that lift is too much for you, you can just hold at this 90-90 and keep that torso up nice and tall, okay? But otherwise, you're coming up, you're feeling that stretch through the front of those hips. And we are mobilizing. Try to keep it as nice and controlled as you can. Just got a couple more. Good. Let's switch. So 90 degrees with that front, 90 degrees with that back, and we are lifting. Nice and controlled, back down. Again, you might find that one side is a little bit better than the other. That is normal. But we are trying to, as much as we can, trying to balance sides out. That's going to help prevent injury, help prevent pain, which of course is what we want. Just going to do a couple more. Last one. Very good. Next one is going to be can openers. So for these, you'll either do it by yourself without support, or again, you can grab that support from like a pole or the wall or a nice stable chair. But we are coming down into that deep squat. We have those elbows pushing those knees away, and then we are turning like this, and you should feel that stretch where that soleus is that I talked about earlier on the back of your ankle, basically, right under your calves. Gonna do this for 45 seconds. Also feeling those inner thighs as well. I encourage you to try this one, but if it's just not for you, you can mix this one out. But it is good to help get our body to the point where our hips can be mobilized, our ankles can be mobilized, our knees can be mobilized, and help support those joints a little bit better, keep those joints and muscles healthier. Let's do one more each side. Good. We'll come back up. Our next one is called Kang squats. So for these, You are going to hold at your ankles. These are also called bootstrappers, if you've ever heard that term before. So you're holding at those ankles. You are bringing that butt straight down and then back up with that booty. So focusing only on the movement of those hips. So that butt comes towards the ground, then our butt goes up in the air. Try to keep that back flat. Keep that chin tucked as well. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Just a few more. Last one. Good. We're going to go back to the top, so back to those 90-90s with that lift. You can grab a drink if you need to. Keep that hydration up. So we got one leg 90 degrees, other than leg 90 degrees back, and you are either holding or nice and controlled lifting. Breathing out through your mouth as you're lifting up. Good, just a couple more. Last one. Good. Then switch. Either holding or lifting with me. Good. Give me about 3 more. Last one. Good. Back to our can openers. Down, you're opening up, pushing our knees apart. Try to keep that chest up as best as you can. One more each side. Good, we're coming up. Back to those Kang squats. For these, if you don't want to hold on to your ankles, you can also keep your hands up. You can push that butt backwards into a good morning, straight down into that squat, then back up like that. So it's up to you depending on how mobilized you feel and if you want to do that. So otherwise, we're doing more of these bootstrappers where we are just shifting those hips up and down. Try to keep those shoulders back, chin tucked, booty goes towards the floor, then up in the air. Heels stay on the ground, balls of your feet stay on the ground. controlled. Let's do a couple more. Last one. Good. All right. Our next couple, we are doing gate rockbacks, which we are down on the floor, one knee down, one leg out, hands on the floor, and you are shifting your glute on the downside towards your heel. So we'll do left side, then right side. So let's go ahead and begin. Should feel a stretch in your inner thigh of that out leg. And it should be nice and controlled to where you're kind of feeling that glute working as well as you are bringing yourself back and up. Good, switch. Other knee down, right under that hip. Other leg out. Last one. Good. Following that, we are doing single leg balances. You can choose to do a reach down if you would like to. So we're getting that balance for a little bit more of a challenge. You can come down with that opposite hand and go to reach the floor. Make sure with this that you are using more of your hips as a hinge to go down rather than rounding your back to touch that floor, because that's not going to be hitting what we need to hit. That's just going to irritate that upper back and your neck. So just go as far down as you can. We'll start with one leg first. If you are feeling like attempting that reach, go as far as you can with that good form, keeping those shoulders back and that chin tucked. Or you are just holding a single leg balance all on its own, wherever you are at stability-wise. Good. Let's do one more. Very nice. Switching legs, and then we're going to go back to those gate rockbacks for one more time. Do a couple more. I'm going to do one more. Good. Great job on that balance. Let's go back to those gate rockbacks. One knee down, one knee out, hands on the floor. Pushing that butt towards our heel, and then lifting back up. Switch. Good, we're back up on our feet for that single leg balance. We're adding in that reach to it. So get sturdy on that one leg. And going down to reach if you feel comfortable with it. Make sure keeping those shoulders back and that chin tucked. A little bit longer. Good, let's switch. Keep those shoulders back, belly button in tight. Last one. Good, great job. All right, up next, we've got glute bridge marches. So we're going down on the floor. We are going to pick our hips up, really squeezing at those glutes. That belly button is in tight, toes are forward. We're picking up one leg at a time. Your supporting foot is staying fully flat on that ground. Nice and controlled for that 45 seconds. Hands and arms flat on that floor. Chin is tucked. Great job. Keep those hips up. Those glutes squeezing. Just a couple more. Good. relax down. Our next exercise is going to be called hip shifts. So you've got one leg out, one knee is on the ground again. Your knee is staying in line with that foot. Make sure that this knee stays out. Sometimes I like to have my hand here just to keep it in line. Not necessarily to push it backwards, but just to keep it in line. And then we are shifting towards that toe, okay? So we'll do left side, then right side. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Your heel stays on that floor. It's okay if your knee goes slightly over your toe or in line with your toe. Kind of strengthening and stretching those inner thighs, that pelvic floor. Let's do one more. Nice and controlled. And switch. Knee down, one knee out. Good. Belly button in tight. One more. Good. Back down on the floor for our marches. Squeeze those glutes up, feet fully on the floor. Marching one leg up at a time. Support leg. You're really squeezing that glute to keep that hip up. Keep those glutes squeezing, you got it. Just got about 4 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax down. One more time on our hip shifts. We are almost done here. You guys are doing a great job. Good job taking this time for you to relax those muscles and make sure that your body is healthy and growing strong. Very important. Mobility and stability is where your good foundational strength is going to come from, supporting those joints and those bones, and also your muscles, preventing injury. You're doing a great job. Good, we'll do about 3 more. Last one. Switch. Give me about 4 more good ones. Nice and controlled. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Last one. Very good. Relax those legs down. If you'd like to, you can repeat some of that stretching to kind of relax out those muscles after we kind of strengthened them a little bit. But other than that, you guys did a great job. We are all done today, focusing on those hips and those knees. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time.